Hello and welcome to the Cameron and Tia Show. Today is part 3 of our Building a Dream Home series. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, go check those out first. We'll pop them up above. You definitely need to see that because today is an update and I'm answering some of your burning questions about building a home and about our process. So let's jump right into this.
Hi, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Tia.
We're so excited that you're here.
Let's jump right into the video. Okay, so first, Kate asks, where are you guys building? So we're building in Minnetrista, Minnesota, which is in the southwest suburbs of Minneapolis. If you're from Minneapolis, our neighborhood is right on Lake Minnetonka. It's the farthest west bay. So it's Halstead's Bay, and then our neighborhood is right there. We're in Mount Westonka School District, which was a really big priority for us to get into an awesome school district. We're obsessed with Mount Westonka. We also wanted to be in the southwest suburbs. We were kind of looking at that whole range of like Chaska, Carver, Waconia, Mound, Minnetonka, Minnetrista. And so we're in Minnetrista. Our address is kind of Excelsior. It actually is Excelsior. But then we're 9 minutes away from all the cute downtowns. So downtown Waconia, downtown St. Bonnie, downtown Mound, and downtown Excelsior. So it's so freaking fun because they have all the cutest restaurants. They have a ton of cute coffee shops. Obviously Waconia has all the wineries. So we're obsessed. Okay, question number 2. Kelsey asks, how did you go about looking for and finding lots and new build areas? Okay, I'm going to answer these like way in depth because I knew nothing about building. So rewind. Cam and I did have a home before this. So this was our second home. So we knew it might be a little tricky with either like having a contingent offer and getting our second home or potentially building, and we didn't know how that worked. There are really kind of like 3 types of building. So there is building on your own, buying a lot, and then finding a general contractor, and then your general contractor like subcontracts everybody else. That is like totally different on the far side of one spectrum. Then there is the building that we're doing, which you find a builder or find a neighborhood. So like we're going with MI Homes, which is a big national builder. They have probably like 15 neighborhoods all around the Twin Cities. And so we're going with MI Homes. Then what happens is MI Homes actually finances your build. So the only upfront money that we paid is we paid 5%, or we paid $5,000 to hold our lot. So to say we are in this, kind of like a deposit, and then we paid 5%. When we then go to close is when we finance like a normal mortgage. So I thought in building there were all these crazy things where like, oh, I'm gonna have to buy a lot, and then do you have to like pay for the materials up front, and then like does your contractor figure that out? Like, I don't really know how that end of the spectrum works. I know you do have to like pay for your lot first. We don't do that. Everything is just rolled right into our mortgage. So then that $5,000 and that 5% apply to our mortgage, and we get a normal mortgage. Like we could put down a normal 20%, which we've already put down 5%. So like we put down 15% more. So I had no clue about that, and that is literally game changing. The other side of that is that you could do a custom home build, and what happens, the difference between that and ours is like you could still go through someone like Ganya, for example, which is also in our neighborhood, and you just have a lot more flexibility with picking out everything. The financing still works the same way. You don't like purchase a lot up front first and then have to like pay for supplies or something. You still get a normal mortgage. So the difference is that with our type of build, so a non-custom home, is that they have, maybe our builder has probably 15 floor plans. We choose a floor plan out of that. Then each floor plan has 3 different elevation options. So like how the front looks, how your front porch looks, like the different peaks that you have, the way that your roof shape looks. And so then you choose from that. But then each room probably has like 3 different structural options. Each room. So like adding windows, adding like a stair rail instead of a half wall, things like that. So you're making that choice for every single room. And then obviously you choose all of your aesthetic choices. So your flooring, your paint colors, your trim, everything like that. So I was worried like a non-custom home, like will we not have enough choices? We had plenty of choices. And so yeah, that's generally how that all kind of works. So then, to answer Kelsey's question, because I had to get all that out of the way, we did have a realtor in our process. We didn't know whether we were going to build or buy something pre-existing. We actually thought we were probably going to do pre-existing. And then, so our realtor did take us around to a lot of different builders and different neighborhoods that he thought would be a good fit for us. And then also also to a lot of pre-existing homes. We chose our neighborhood first over the builder. We liked the builder. Like, there was nothing wrong with it that we were like, oh my gosh, we found a floor plan that we liked within the builder, but it was definitely not a priority for us to find MI homes first and then find a neighborhood. We fell in love with our neighborhood. I'm going to show you some footage. Our neighborhood is absolutely amazing. This is what made us fall in love with this area. We thought that we were going to find a pre-existing home with an amazing backyard for us to be able to spread out and enjoy the outdoors. We then stripped away that priority and we were like, actually, we want to be able to enjoy the outdoors. It's not necessarily that we want a big private yard that we have to maintain. So that kind of changed our priorities, but it meant that we are moving into this neighborhood that is full of paved trails everywhere. You can bike all around it. You can walk all around it. It's right on Lake Minnetonka, so we're not on Minnetonka, but our neighborhood is on Minnetonka. It has a clubhouse with a pool that we can take advantage. It has a 40-acre park reserve when you enter the neighborhood that has to stay there and has one trail going through it that's absolutely amazing. And then it connects to Minnetonka Regional Park, which if you haven't been before, it's a man-made beach pool lake. It's a man-made lake, I would call it that, that I cannot wait to just like bike on over and take our kids there. It also connects to the Carver Park Reserve Trail system, which is freaking amazing, which then it's really close to the Dakota Park Trail system. From the Carver Park Reserve, you can literally bike around all these loops, but then that also connects to downtown Excelsior. Like, oh my God, it's a dream. So we fell in love with that first, and then MI Homes was obviously the builder, so then that's how we chose that. Okay, so third question. Aurora asks, what's the upfront cost? How did you save to build? So I talked about this a little bit, but so we paid that $500 for the lot. I'm sorry, I keep saying $500. It was $5,000. So $5,000 to reserve the lot, and then 5% down right now. And so that was at the beginning when we like locked into contract with MI Homes. And then we pay the remaining upfront, or the remaining when we mortgage. So when we close, which is at the end of October. So we are both self-employed, and so our system is a little bit unique. Like our financials are a little bit unique in that like our entire household income is self-employed. So we are actually putting down more than 20%. But like a normal person who is just living their best lives with double incomes, W-2s, like obviously then you just put your remaining 15% down. So how did you save to build? So this is a little bit unique. We did save just normal, how we normal budget, but a lot of our down payment is coming from the sale and the equity of our first home. So I love talking financials. I love being really open with people because I think the world isn't open enough. We bought our first home for $227,000, and then we sold it for $289,000. So there was some awesome equity there, not only in that how much we were able to sell it for, but that we had been there for a while, and obviously, as everybody knows, real estate is an awesome investment, and so we were paying into our mortgage, and so we had some awesome equity going into this home, which then is, again, a big portion of our down payment, so that helped a lot. So yeah, I think I just wanted to dispel the myth that you don't need to save like all this money up front, which is again what I kind of thought of, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to like buy a lot outright, and then I'm gonna have to buy supplies outright, and then like pay my general contractor outright. No, like everything's just wrapped into a mortgage like normal. Okay, so Lindsay asks, any advice for people who are just moving into their starter home, and then advice to make the jump from a starter home to a build? Okay, first things first is I think if Cam and I went back in time, we would have built first. That would have been our first home. And that's a little unique because, as I just explained, we got so much, like we built so much equity in our first home, and you wouldn't do that with a build. But I think the con from going from a first home to then building for your second home is that we are living with my parents, and we've lived with my parents for about 8 months because we needed to get rid of our first home first to then prove that we could qualify for the mortgage for the second home when that started. So you can't have like a contingent offer, or you can, but you're going to have to be able to prove that you can technically like own both at the same time, which is something financially that we couldn't do. So that's one thing to consider. I think with a starter home, you have to really play out what makes sense for you and your family. Cam and I wanted to move into something that was move-in ready and that we wouldn't need to make huge improvements to. So honestly, with our starter home that we were in for 4.5 years, we really only maintained it. We painted, we painted trim, we painted the exterior, and literally maintained it. That's it. We didn't do any huge upgrades, and that was partially that Cam and I didn't feel like we wanted to invest in something that we wouldn't see a return on our investment. We didn't want to change out all the hardware and make it really bougie because A, that didn't like benefit our life that much, but then also when we go to sell that, we're not going to get a return on investment in something small like that. So it also kind of felt a little bit temporary to us the entire time. So I would say our house was like really good, but nothing was great. Everything was kind of like 1985 vibes, but it was like all working and like looked nice and just not great, not our style. So I think that's a really unique approach to it, and you kind of have to figure out like, are you wanting like a huge return on your investment? Then let's make a lot of big changes to the house that are going to make an impact when you go to sell. You're probably curious then how we were able to buy and then sell. Obviously the market was very hot. We sold right before quarantine happened in the US, and so the market was extremely hot. It was a seller's market. But then on top of it, we got really lucky with a couple things. Our city center that was right near our house actually got totally revamped. Basically the first year that we lived there, they like built a Hy-Vee, they redid the entire city center. It made it a lot safer, it made it a lot more of like a hub. On top of that, our neighborhood was right on a freeway. It was off of 169 if you're from Minnesota, and the second year that we lived there, they built a sound wall down the entire freeway. We knew that when we were moving in. A neighbor tipped us off to that when we were checking out things, because at first we were like, is this gonna be like a little too loud? And then it literally could not have worked in more of our favor. So just a couple big things like that really helped our equity. We also just like updated and we staged our house really well. I think that it looked really good for like the millennial buying. Actually, a millennial didn't buy our house, I just think it looked really good that way too. Okay, Natasha asks, is it a lot more expensive than buying a house that would be of equal final quality? Okay, honestly, I think no. I think definitely no. So as I said, Cam and I were touring a lot of houses that were pre-existing and a lot of homes that were new builds. I think one thing that is drastically contrasted at our price point, so in kind of that mid 500,000 range, we were touring homes that were pre-existing that had way better outdoor space. So private yards, maybe they backed up to woods, maybe they backed up to like swampy vibes, anything like that. With a new build you can get that, but it's going to be a huge upgrade. So we were actually considering like what's titled a wooded lot in our neighborhood, which was $90,000 extra. So that's like the upgrade to get to that. And we ended up not doing that because, as I said at the beginning, we ruled out that, hey, we don't need a backyard that's huge. We don't like mowing. We don't like gardening. We just wanted space to explore and walk and bike, and that's what we got in our neighborhood. So that is a drastic difference, that our home compared to a pre-existing home, you probably could have found a way better backyard space. So that's something you lose. The difference is that homes that are the exact same price finish that we were looking at, so that pre-existing probably has a better yard, but everything in the pre-existing was not our exact aesthetic. Nothing was, you know? You'd have to redo a kitchen. You'd have to do the hardwood floors. You'd have to redo the carpeting upstairs. You'd have to redo literally everything aesthetic. Maybe we'd get lucky here and there. Like we looked at a couple homes that were maybe like a 5-year-old build. So just like one person had lived in it before us, and maybe the kitchen countertops would be good, but we still hated the cabinets. We still hated the hardwood floors. And the difference with your new build is that, everything is exactly what you want. Why would you have chosen it otherwise? So just comparing those prices, because we literally looked at them side by side, no, it's not more expensive. Getting the home that we wanted, so like this pre-existing one that has this like better yard, but literally everything would have been changed. I mean, you're gonna pay like $200,000 more to change all those things, at least $100,000 more. And so I think a lot of people put into the world like this mantra of like building a home is so much more expensive because everything is an upgrade. You have to upgrade this, upgrade that. But yes, you like budget for that, and I think those are the people who haven't compared direct pre-existing homes to that and haven't gone through the process before. Often those are people who are building their first home and they're like, oh my god, it's so expensive. And it's like, but you haven't lived in a pre-existing home before, let alone were you in the market to compare. You just went straight to builds. So no. It is not more expensive to build because you get the end product that you exactly wanted. Whereas comparatively, you were buying a home that wasn't quite as good, wasn't quite as you. So that's the tea on that. Okay, Okay, last question. Anna asks, what style are y'all going for as far as decorations and paint? Our paint is going to be clean. It is called Pure White by Sherwin-Williams. We are going to have that literally everywhere in the house to start. Maybe we'll adjust some stuff, but I think honestly we're just going to do like some accent walls, like in our powder room, like some wallpaper, maybe some like wood treatments on the walls, but that's literally it. We love that clean look. And then our style for decorations, like furniture, everything, we really like a mid-century modern feel. We kind of like a Cali cool feel. And then the only thing that will be kind of different will be my office, which will have a little bit more of like an eclectic anthropology look to it, bursting with color, a little bit like rattan, a little bit more like boho, borderline boho. But yeah, basically everything is like clean. We do like to take kind of some risks with color, especially Cameron. So we'll have some surprises like that. But otherwise just like very mid-century modern, very like clean. Okay, you guys, let me take you into some new footage. Let's go. Y'all, here's a little update. We got our garage doors. You can see the windows in them, reveal coming soon. And then we got all of our countertops. Here is our big island countertop. We love it. We love the little flecks of gray. We also got all of these half walls and our railings are done. Just a rich wood to really match our floors. It just feels like finishing touches. There's a little close-up. And then in our kitchen, here's just a little upgrade that we did to have that recycling and trash bin in there, all of our soft clothes cabinets, and then almost all of our appliances are here. So there you saw our fridge, and then you can even see another update. There's our faucets that are in as well. Ooh, my goodness, stuff is looking so good. Like, oh, and then here's our little powder room. Toilets are in, plus here we just did the pedestal, just basic, but you could also see our faucet there. There you can also see that light switches are done. This is what's going to be our guest bedroom, and we're getting so excited that that view is about to turn fall vibes. And then that's from our slider door on our main level too, that you can see kind of that pond and a little bit more of an open area. Upstairs, all of our LED lights are in. In most places we only did LED, and then you can see there that it's going to be roughed in for a fan. We're doing basically all of our fans, all of our light fixtures on our own because we hated the choices our builder had. They were lame. But also we have closet doors. Cam's just checking out one of our front bedrooms doors. And then in our master suite here, you could see that we had the LEDs in there. We also added a rough-in for a fan to be able to put a big old fan in our master bedroom. And then when we make our way on in here, we did the charcoal blue cabinets. This countertop is called Miami White. It's just like pure blaring white in your face. It's all I've got for you. So coming up, we've got some more updates. We've got our move-in day, which is coming at the end of October. We're going to show you, literally vlog the entire move-in process, show like our lights getting installed, everything fun like that. Stuff is about to get cray, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see more of that. We've got a full playlist with all of our home updates. Okay, until next time, bye!